Hello friends, my name is Ashok Sijala. In this session, we learn the server-side validation. So let us start. First, I share my laptop screen. Okay, and here Microsoft Visual Studio Web for Express Edition is open, and validation demo website folder is already open. In file menu, in take new file, here C# is selected, web form file is there, and here we provide name of file, and it is server side emp info. Okay, so employee information. In this session we have to take the server side validation. So here is our goal, server side validation, that is the heading of our page. Okay, and here in division tag we take the panel tag as a container control. So give ID P1 at server side and looping tags, and that is use here employee detail, and just close tag, and also take back color like pink. Okay, now we have to take the HTML table tag, so our design looks better. So here provide ID T1 run at server side and border, that is 1. Okay, HTML is a client side control, but here we provide the run at server side, so also that table tag of HTML is work server side. Okay, child tag is TR, that is table row, and TD, that is table data. So here first we have to take label ID LBL EID employee ID, and run server side, and tags is just ID. Can close the tag and take another TD, and that TD we first take one text box to supply employee ID, and that txt is a prefix, txt EID run server side, and just close the text box tag. And now we have to take the required field validator that just not provide the blank value to user. So here that ID req eid, and run at server side, and tags is id is required. So here, okay, now error message we have to also provide, and that is we some prefix use emp id is required. Okay, so distinct the message, so we identify so how text is appear and error messages appear. So I think now ready, let us check. Yes, okay, now important property control to validate that, and that is our text box id txt eid, and now close that tag RequiredFieldValidator. We can also apply the CompareValidator. ID must be in integer, so we use the compare eid, and that also we provide run at server side. Tags is id must be in integer. Okay, same way error message we have to supply, and that we prefix emp id must be in integer. So that type message, and just control to validate. Okay, and that is txt eid, and two main property, and that is a operator. Okay, and here see operator, and so many values there, so all relational operators supported, but we just use data type check here, and here type, that is data type, and that is currency, date, double, integer, string. We check the integer and just close that. Okay, and our main goal, and that is a custom validator. This control only we can apply our own logic, and custom is user defined. Like in C language, you can define your user defined function. So here provide just id cust cust employee id, customer employee id, and run it. We can that server side tax is we can say that id must be uh, divided by 5, or so that type of id supply. Error message that we prefix, and that is emp id must be uh, divided by 5. Okay, and control to validate, just provide the same. Okay, so we move forward. Okay, so control to validate same id of text box txt id, and one main on server validation, that is our goal. So here server like valid or underscore eid employee id. Okay, valid, so that type of message. And our first row, I think, complete. So let us check the design, any change is required. So here our three validation control, that message is concat, so we can, some separation is required. So here in first here ampersand ndsp, that is in html, that provide one blank, and just copy and paste. So four blank space appear between two messages. So let us check the cell, and yes, here you can see here blank is appear. So now I can just copy for second row, and that is the table new, take the tr table row, and that row we have to provide the employee name field. So here name, and text box text is change, text label text is change, and text box provide the id here txt nm, and here not require the compare validator, so I just delete. And require field we have to change in here. First we have to change the message, here provide the name, and here also in custom validator we have to change name must be, you can say that alpha alphabets. So name you cannot supply the digit. Okay, and same way we can change the both error message. Here name just remove id and provide the name is required, and here also name must be, you can say that uh, alphabet, and remove this X. Okay, and here control to valid provide this text box id txt nm, and also here txt nm. So I can change both them, and here provide the valid e name, employee name. Okay. So now that is second row is complete. We here I take third row, and that row one td, and that row only one our button control supply our information. So here call span required, so only one control, so provide the call span 2, and take the button or submit our data of employee. It is submit run at server side Here I can just above so see better. Okay, so here server side and tags is submit. Okay, now some formatting is required, so we have to bold, and that is by default false, so we provide true. And font size is there, so font size so many values supported. So here list you can see we give the first large, small is there, so many x small, extra large, so just small, and provide the for color, and that is we can provide dark slash blue. Okay, so now just close the button tag, and after the table we take one label to print our output, and that is lbl answer net server side, and the tags is we can set that out. Okay, so now our design is ready. Let us check. Yes, here just select the button, and here left margin, so move our button to something like here. Okay, so looking for better. Okay, we just first apply our submit button logic. So here first provide one if condition, and that is page class dot is valid is. So if page class is valid then and then true, then all other control return the is valid. Every control hold the is valid property. So all the field return true, then and then is valid is return true, otherwise it is return the false. So that is our condition. So for employee both field is valid, then that print in the label tags. So we provide ID heading, and then concatenation is plus txt eid dot tags, and then provide one br tag to taking line name field, and heading is name just txt nm dot tags. So our both field is valid, then that field is print. Otherwise, we can say that response. Response is a member of page class. Here, page dot response, and return the HTTP response. HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That is the full form HTTP, and that is a stateless protocol. One request and one response, and that is a write method of response class. And here we can say that invalid form. Okay, so that our logic is now complete, and now our this session very important point is start, and that logic is id must be divided by 5, and that is a custom validator control. I can just double click, and our server side validation function is signature is open. So here second parameter server validate event argument. Look in the button click, here is a event argument, but here is a server validate event argument. So object sender is a same, but here second argument change. So let us we provide try catch block, so exception handling. So here provide the try and catch block. Here first write catch, and here args I can just change is e. Okay, so just only one character, and is valid property I can just in catch as a false. Okay, now coding start in the try block, and take one x is an integer variable, e dot value property is there, but value property return is a string. So here our handler is x is integer, so error is appear, cannot implicit convert type string to integer. So here I can use convert class is there in C#, and put in 32, because in C# and Java integer data type hold 4 bytes. So here 32 is used, and just give this e value. So our goal is now error is gone, because we have to provide the typecasting. And now our logic is start. We provide one if block, and we have to provide here first we have to one use method, and that is substring. Substring, there is two parameters start, so we can start the zero start index, and that length we have to provide three first letter of employee id. So we check our id is divided by, that is modulo operator, and 5 and equal to 0. So our employee code is valid, otherwise it is not valid. So e dot is valid return true. Okay, that is simple. We have to provide the logic. And else part, e dot is valid return false. So you can enter the divided by and reminder, that is 0. So that employee code is valid, otherwise it is return false. So that is our goal. So we provide the first employee, restrict that field. You can apply only divided by 5, or you can say that module operator and reminder is 0. So is valid is true, otherwise is validity return false, and then print. Okay, so our first custom validator we have to that type, and substring, that is a here return the string, so we have to convert the and also value is written the string, so we convert class use 2 in 32. Now our second, and that is a name field. Name must be in alphabet, just select and double click. So here, okay, now open this method. Also same server side validation we have to use. So here also take try catch block. Okay, now catch, I can just blank, and here we provide the directly start the try block, and here take the X, and I can use directly ARGS. Also you can change, and here server validation valid event argument ARGS, and that directly I take the value. But in previous logic we can see that value return the string. So here is error is appear because our handler is an integer and value return the string value. So here use int 32, and that is a also class in 32, all data type in the C#. So fast typecasting is required. Here we can use the another tactic. In previous logic I apply the convert class. Okay, convert 2 in 32, and here directly in 32 dot fast, and that is the convert our string to integer data type. So here you can see the fast method return the integer. So that is our second technique to convert in C# string to integer data type. So now if we have to provide an x is greater than or equal to, I can just go. Okay, so here 65 is a ASCII code of capital A alphabet, and operator x is less than or equal to 90. That is the capital Z ASCII code. So and operator bind, and here also provide the parenthesis x is greater than equal to 97, that is the small a, and operator here just remove parenthesis, and here x is less than or equal to 122, that is the small z. So our goal is in name field either the capital alphabet A to Z or small a to Z. Uh, digit or symbol is not allowed, that's meaning. And you can refer the ASCII code here. 65 is a capital A and 90 is a capital Z, and in between 91 and 96 there are 6 symbols, and then start the small a 97 and 122, that is small z. Okay, so our goal is now perfect. We can just ARGS is valid return then true. Okay, otherwise return else part, that is ARGS and is valid, and that is false. So that is our second server side logic provided by custom validator. User can apply your own logics, and that is known as custom validator control. In ASP.NET, there are 6 control like require field validator, compare validator, range validator, regular expression validator, and validate summary. And that 5 control there is not apply our own coding. Thus we can set that attributes, or you can say that property. But custom validator we can apply our own logic. So let us check our design is ready, our coding is ready. So just Control S for saving and F5 for running our web page. So check both the validation. Okay, so I can just press the submit button directly. Here, require field validator pass the message. ID is required, name is required. And here I supply first alphabet. So compare validator is ID must be in the integer. And here I provide the digit and just submit button. So here require the IDs like we provide another ID and that is not divided by 5. So let us check our custom validator. So ID passed by custom ID must be divided by 5. And here also name must be in alphabet. So that is custom validator provided by message. So let us we provide proper value and then check ID provide 1, that is digit and not blank, and but we have to divide by 5, so we compulsory first 3 letters, so 0 and 1 5, so that number is divided by 5. Okay, and name is we must be in alphabet. So our message, our custom validator message is gone and just submit button. Okay, so our data now print. Okay, let us take in this I can take one important, and that is validation summary. So also our message print end of the list. So last we have to provide after the label, and that we have just put validation summary and provide the ID like well and run at server side and just the close save. And I think there is no other change is required to our design. Okay, so here validation summary is appear. Also you can show summary is written by default true. You can set false and show message dialog box is your message in pop-up dialog box. So here we can check directly first on the page validation summary. So let us check second time to just submit. So here you can see the here is a text message is appear, so I can show that invalid, and here we prefix EMP. EMP ID is required, EMP name that is provided by error message, and that is provided by text message. So that is distinct two property of all validation control. Now we provide the just alphabet and check also that message submit. So here also message ID must be in integer, ID must be, that is compare validator pass this message, and I can provide the not divided by 5 numbers. So in ID field I just provide 12, so that number not divided by 5, and here some digit I have to put in the name field. So now ID must be divided by 5 and name must be in alphabet. Same that message provided by the custom validator, server side validation, and we can apply our own logic. So that is the important we have to that sir. And here you can see invalid form, that is our above the design, because that is response dot write and that get the priority high. So our design above the message invalid form, that form is not valid, because our goal we can supply the valid value, And in ASP.NET, that is validation. What is a first? We have to understand what is validation. Validation means valid value for any field. So I can example here, in ID field, we have to provide the T validation, like not blank, provide must be in integer data type, and must be divided by 5. That type of ID you can compulsory submit. So another important definition ourselves, that is restrict field value, that is called validation. So here we can 0, and we can say that 15, or you can say that any divide by 5 number, but first 3 letter, because we substring use that logic. And here must be the alphabet. So our both custom validator message gone, but here is appear because I cannot press the submit button, and our field is now print. So ID and name. So that is, I think, sufficient. I can just sum up and revise how I can perform custom validator. First look the design part, that is our designing. Okay, and that is label. Okay, that is text box. Here require field validator, here compare validator, here custom validator, here label, next text box, here require, and here custom validator, and just submit button. And here one provide the label and validation summary. You can also see the source code, so better. And also here take the table for HTML, look for better our code. So, okay, that is the important thing. So I can just revise my logic. And here you can see the custom, that is important, and we provide the valid employee ID or divide by 5, that is implemented by our own logic. And here name, we can also provide the same valid employee. So let us check our code, and that we provide first submit button is valid, page dot is valid. So all the field is valid, then and then print, otherwise return the response dot write form is invalid. Now valid emp, that is our server side validation function name, and we take first e dot value and substring. First start index is 0 and next 3 letter. So here module operator use divide by module operator 5, and return reminder is 0, then and then that employee ID is return is valid is return true, otherwise it is return false. In same catch block is valid false. And now that is very important and simple logic. We just compare the word, and here I can also next conversation technique. Okay, args valid int 32 fast. Okay, so x is greater than 65 and x is less than or equal to 90. That is capital A to Z, and AND operator binding, and that is x is greater than 97. That is a small a and small z, x less than 120. Then and then our name is valid, otherwise it is written false. So I hope you can understand. Subscribe my channel Ashok Sijala Academy. Press the bell icon to never miss any update, and thanks for your support. Many students demand to start the iOS, Java, C++, but I first complete my ASP.NET video series lecture, all the concept, and then I can go ahead for any other language. So thanks your support. So many requirement is there, so many subscriber is there. So best thanks for all supporting and sharing your groups, and in this corona crisis you can that is best way you can teaching online. So online education I have to provide, that is my goal, and I can start the series of lecture. So thanks and Hare Krishna.